Starting off this hour is Shelby in Tennessee. Merry Christmas, Shelby. How can we help today?
Merry Christmas, Dave. Thank you so much for taking my call.
Sure.
So my husband and I are in the middle of our debt snowball on our active debt. He also has a handful of credit collections from about 2014 to 2015. And about a month ago, we received in the mail 3 separate letters from some bankruptcy lawyers stating there was a court case against him. So I did a little digging to see if it was valid. I called the county clerk, and she said that the court case was valid, but there's been no activity on it, and nothing has been served yet. So my predicament in question is, should we pause our debt snowball, so to speak, on our active debt to pay this collection, or should we take action only if and when something is actually served?
Who was it by, and how much was it for?
I don't even know the original creditor. It's been passed around so long, but it's in the hands of a law firm right now.
Was it a credit card or medical bill? What was it? Do you know?
I believe it was some sort of personal loan from I think they were called the Lending Club at first, and it's for about $3,000, which is what kind of makes me nervous, because that's going to take us at least 3 months to pay that full amount and kind of pause everything else we've been doing.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I'm really conflicted about what to do, because I don't know whether we should wait until...
If Lending Club has a $3,000 unsecured loan that is 5 years old, they don't own it anymore. They sold it.
Mm-hmm.
And they sold it for probably around 6 or 7 cents on the dollar. So they probably paid under $200 for this. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
And so if you were to contact the law firm and offer them $1,000, they'll probably settle it. You'll probably have to argue with them and listen to some whining and frothing around and all that kind of stuff. That's part of a negotiation with any collections. And by the way, this law firm is no more of a law firm than Fly the Moon, except that they technically have a law office. What they are is a widget, a factory that prints off lawsuits on small collections en masse.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and they probably are not going to do much with this. If they ever did actually sue you, even when they win, then the only way they would get anything is to execute on the judgment, and that would take months more on top of it. The chances of them spending $1,000 in addition to the $800 or in addition to the $200 they paid for the debt to try to collect a $3,000 debt that's 5 years old is about zero.
Okay.
So what they do is they throw paper around to try to intimidate people to get them to pay the bill, and you need to pay the bill. So, but you have $1,000 in your emergency fund, baby step 1, right?
Yes.
Okay. If this comes up, if it comes to a head, call them and offer them the $1,000 and tell them that's all you have, because that would, by the way, be the truth.
Mm-hmm.
And in settlement in full. I can't give you any more than that. I don't have any more than that. You'll just have to sue us.
Okay.
And then they will sue you, and then they would win because you owe the money. And then you go back and you settle the judgment later, because it's going to take all of this takes way too long. And generally, what they do is they play the odds. They buy bad debt and they play the odds, and so they go in down there with like if you can imagine going in with 2-wheelers full of cases of lawsuits. And they file them all at once. It's like a factory doing a shipment.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just hope a few of them hit, and all they got to do is hit about 1 in 10, and their money comes back.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's how it's a game. It's an odds. They're playing the odds. And debt buyers are real slimy, and the law firms that they work with are real slimy. By and large, there's a few exceptions, but 90% of them are slimy. So just deal with it like you're dealing with slimy people, and get everything in writing. And don't give them any access to your checking account. Do not give them any employment information. Do not give them anything except a cash offer in return for a in-writing settlement offer.
Okay.
And I'll send you a cashier's check, or I'll wire some money, or I'll do a prepaid debit card that you turn on long enough to put that money in there, and then you turn it back off. So something like that, where they do not have access to your job They don't have access to your current address. Well, we need to verify your information before we can have this conversation. Well, do you want the conversation to end, or do you want to get some money? Because you're not verifying spit with me. Because all the information they get on you is going to help them file a garnishment against your wages or something, and don't give them anything.
Yeah.
So you got to play hardball. Hardball, be real cagey, wise as serpents, harmless as doves, and try to get this settled when it comes up. But right now, it really hasn't come up yet.
Okay.
Is that helpful?
Perfect. Yes, that was exactly what I needed to know. Thank you.
Be very careful and very wise, okay? Don't trust anything you hear. Only trust what you see.
Okay.
Okay, thanks for the call. Open phones at 888-825-5225. Let me help you guys with this, because occasionally I get a question about this. There are basically 3 or 4 types of collectors out there. There's a collector that calls you on your home mortgage. If you have a traditional home mortgage and you're behind, they will call you from the mortgage company and say, we want our money. They can be believed. They don't have a lot of power, but they have a precise system that they have to go through in order for the FHA insurance to kick in, the VA insurance to kick in, or the Fannie Mae PMI to kick in. Okay, and so for them to get the coverages in the event of foreclosure that they need, they have to go through a very precise procedure, and they generally are not going to bluster and create a bunch of emotion and all that kind of stuff. So your mortgage collector is probably the top of the heap, best collectors out there in terms of telling the truth. Now, they're going to be tough on you. You owe them money. They're trying to get their money, but in terms of telling the truth. The bottom of the barrel is a debt buyer that buys it for a nickel on the dollar, and they're working the odds, and they're really, really, really slimy. Right above them are the credit card collectors with the national companies like Discover and Chase and Wells Fargo and so on. If you get a collections call from a credit card collector in one of those companies, be aware. You are dealing with some of the worst human beings on the planet. They are trash. They're slimy. And if you don't like me calling you that and you're one of those collectors, then go get a job you can be proud of, because you're slimy. Okay? And Navient is just right there, just above them. They will lie to you, and they're incompetent when it comes to your student loans. So you have to be careful. Your local collection agency in your local town, usually pretty good folks, but not always. So you can't be sure. But some of those are pretty good folks too. So there's a gradient in the quality of human you're dealing with in these collections processes. And just be aware of that if you're getting behind on your bills, because you got to work through this mess.